Let's start with the big story of the day, which is Asanele Velepai, obviously. But we're also going to talk about the other signings that are linked with Kaizer Chiefs and how likely they are to happen. Asanele Velepai, we talked about him yesterday, but what I did not include in yesterday's video is the fact that he had not even gone to training. Some are even reporting that for the past 3 days, he's not been going to training, reason being boycotting Cape Town Spurs because they don't want to sell him. Now, the CEO of Cape Town Spurs was now asked, hey, what's happening with Velepai? And he says something that is heartbreaking, but I know a lot of you will be quick to defend Kaizer Chiefs in this, but they don't have a good track record. Because the CEO is saying that Kaizer Chiefs approached the player before talking to them as the club. And there is a rule, specifically, go check in the rules of transfers. Article 18, rule number 3 there, subsection 3, whatever you call it. Ivan, there is a rule that says strictly a club, if they want to sign a player, if they want to talk to a player, they must write a letter to the club who the player belongs to and get permission before they talk to them. And now the CEO is stating that, hey, Chiefs did not do that. Now, I know people will say, Vele PSL clubs don't want to sell to Chiefs. I would agree if we're just talking about Polokwane City. I would agree if we're talking about Sekhukhune United, because we failed to get players from those two teams this current transfer window. But Cape Town Spurs, we just got Rashwin totally from there. So clearly, things were not that bad between the two of us. But now this has happened because the club did not say anything. You understand that? The club did not say anything, absolutely nothing about the money being too low. It was rejected. Tumazola reported that they were going to pay over 5 million rands. He did not say 5 million rands, but he said that they were going to get more money than if they had won the Motsepe Foundation league. And that league pays 5 million. So if it's more than that, so that's more than 5 million. And the problem was, it's not about money. It's about a matter of respecting the rules. And we've been through this with Kaizer Chiefs, breaking rules. And I would like to sit here and say, oh no, they didn't do it. Where is the proof? Obviously, Chiefs fans will ask that and say this and that. But if it's a team that has a relationship with the club, hey, then it makes me go, why? We understand. I don't understand. And people are going to say, oh, but this happens. Whenever things like that happen, the relationships are broken down. For example, PSG rejected a 180 million euros offer from Real Madrid to sign Kylian Mbappe. You know why? Because PSG won, they have money, but that wasn't the point. PSG knew very well that they were going to lose Mbappe on a free eventually if they keep playing these games. But out of not wanting to be disrespected by Perez, because Perez had gone and talked to Mbappe before talking to PSG, they did not allow that. We're talking about one of arguably the biggest superstars after Abu Messi and Abu Ronaldo, and they refused to sell him. 180 million rands is a lot, not million euros, is a lot of money to reject, but they did. So Cape Town Spurs might be doing this just to prove a point, because yes, they might be losing 5 million, but they allow this. They set a precedent that, hey, if you want our player, you can just snoop around. They shouldn't allow it. And I don't think it's a good idea from the mom of Velepai to actually say, hey, kid, don't go to training. You know what Cape Town Spurs are going to do? That boy probably has 2-3 years remaining on his contract. They're just going to bench him just to teach him and show him. They will just bench him, and by the time he gets a chance to even play, he will be finished. So I don't think it's a good idea to think emotional decisions. You can just decide and say, I'm not going to training, mate. You are under contract. You can't just stop going to training. It makes no sense. So I hear people defending Chiefs. Chiefs does not have a good track record. And it pains me to say this, because everything I've been trying to say this transfer window is positive and looking at what Nabi wants to do, but then you go and do this. I just don't get it. Because if the CEO of Cape Town Spurs is lying, then Chiefs should come out and dispute it. That's what I'm saying. Because if he is saying they did that, then they should dispute it and say that's a lie. And then if they say that, then I'm going to start saying, but right now we have one side of the story And that side of the story is actually proving the track record of Chiefs. Why did many teams end up not wanting to sell players to Chiefs in the first place? Because Chiefs did this kind of, help me Lord, they did this kind of nonsense, and it ended up putting them in a situation where they are in with Asanele Velepai right now. And this can actually jeopardize one of the deals that we might actually end up wanting to make with Cape Town Spurs, and that is a deal of Ashley Cupido, who I think now it's going to be really difficult to get because relationships are not good at all. The CEO even said we have a good relationship with Chiefs, but this, So it clearly shows that it's not beef. They are good. They're on good terms. And then they did this. It's weird. I cannot tell you why they did it. Now, the next player on the list is Sipho Mbule of Mamelodi Sundowns. Who gold, by the way, who provided these players that they say could go to Kaizer Chiefs. So, Sipho Mbule, Sundowns, Mangoba Mngeti did say that he wants to start playing more wing play now, which means less players in midfield, and I wonder what that means for Mbule, because the direct competition to Sipho Mbule is Marcelo Allende, and I'm sorry, as much as Mbule is a good player, I don't think he's better than Allende. There's Utemba Zwane, there's Mayema, and there's a 6, there's Opas and Ntebo Homkwena, who start ahead of him because they are also more defensive than he is. Mayema is probably more offensive than he is, and then Uzwanu Allende is more of an 8 than he is. So yes, it could make sense for Chiefs because he's 26, he's not getting any younger. But the problem is, if Sundowns were willing to just go by Terence Mashego to take him away from Chiefs, why would they give Chiefs an opportunity to sign one of the good, top 20 players in the league? Why would they allow that? I don't see that happening. And the next player, which is number 4, is, we talked about Asanele Velepai, we talked about Ashley Cupido, we've talked about Sipho Mbule, and number 4 is Ulesedi Kapinga. I don't even know why anyone would say that. Ulesedi Kapinga went to Sundowns. He did not play. Pirates said he was in Prison FC. They took him to Pirates. Did he play? No. This preseason, we did not see much of him either. So who was the problem? And so I wouldn't take a risk with him. And one that I wouldn't even take a risk with is also Kemit Erasmus. Guys, he was injured almost the entire season, the one that we just came from. Yes, he's experienced. Yes, he knows how to score goals. But how long will he be available each season? Because he's injured. And it's not his fault, but right now for bringing in a striker, we're likely bringing in a starter. Can Kemit be that striker? I don't think so. And the other one is Ubongani Zungu. And I was actually talking to Spiu about this thing of Chiefs signing players and how Ubongani Zungu doesn't fit. Personally, this is coming from a personal point of view. Footballing wise, how is Ubongani Zungu? Not a bad footballer. Actually, he did not just go to Europe because, of favors. No, it's because of his talent. My problem with Ubongani Zungu is attitude. He broke Bernard Parker's leg. He never apologized. Bernard Parker said it. The man never apologized. It's not just about him not apologizing. But my biggest thing is, if you're not going to apologize to a player that you broke a leg of, because when we saw him protesting after the game, we thought, oh no, it's because he feels like it's an unfair decision. But to not apologize afterwards, and we don't need a player who's going to have that kind of an attitude in the club right now. We don't need anyone who's going to cause division, who's going to... Because at Chiefs, how much is it going to earn? Over $1 million. For what? Nah, my injuries. So, I don't think it's a good idea. Let me give a special shout out to some of our members here. Oh my goodness. And today, the light is just blinding. I'll give a shout out to Sam. I will give a shout out to Mr. Manager, Uwilingema, Tumsani Shangase. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being members of the channel. You can be a member of the channel, actually, guys. That thing helps me to travel to all of these games because it's expensive. Please do make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and become a member. Also, another way you can help me is by going there on Instagram at Khosi Nation Fan TV and follow me. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.